G'day KFC SuperCoaches. The first week of finals is in the bag for 2022. I hope you survived. To next week, let's look at who was hot and who was cold in round 20. Essendon's Mason Redmond played one of the more extraordinary games of the season off halfback. He had 32 disposals, but what made it incredible was 97% disposal efficiency. So he only missed the target with 1 out of his 32 disposals. That explains why he scored 176 KFC SuperCoach points, the highest score of the round. Now his past 3 scores are 152, 49 and 176, and that 49 he was subbed out before halftime. So he's absolutely running hot. If you've got a spare spot in your defence, you could do a lot worse than bring in Mason Redmond. We talked up Rowan Marshall as a trade target a couple of weeks ago when Paddy Ryder went out. We know when he's the number 1 ruck, he can score really big. Last week was a little bit lukewarm, but this week he just went absolutely ballistic. 30 disposals, 73% efficiency for Rowan. 30 touches for a ruckman, that's just nuts. 9 marks, 7 tackles, 10 intercepts, 12 hitouts to advantage, 173 KFC SuperCoach points, and he's still under 500 grand. So if you've got a spot in the forward line or the ruck, even the midfield, you could swap someone up there just to get Rowan Marshall in for the next 3 weeks. And Josh Dunkley has been in the cold section for the past few weeks here, but he's back in the hot, which we love. Highest score for the Bulldogs on Saturday night, 130 KFC SuperCoach points. We know that's what he can do, so I hope you didn't trade him out before the finals. That's his best score since round 11. He had 25 touches, which is only 1 more than last week, but the key was he kicked 2 goals, had 8 score involvements. So Champion Data and the KFC SuperCoach scoring system really love those possessions that go on the scoreboard and help their team win. Who was cold in round 20? It's a bit rough to put Clayton Oliver in here. He's been one of the best players in KFC SuperCoach for 2022. He's only had 3 scores under 100, but 2 of them have been in the past 2 weeks. So only the 85 on Friday night. James Aish ran up next to him for the Dockers and had a fantastic game. He actually had more disposals than Oliver did while playing a bit of a tag. So not the best night for Clary. I mean, the Demons got the job done, so he probably wasn't too worried. But for KFC SuperCoach, we need him to lift next week for the second round of the finals. Only 48% efficiency from his 21 touches. So I think we'll be getting a lot bigger than that next week from Clayton Oliver. Another player who's had an absolutely fantastic season is Nick Dacos, but that's 2 scores in the 70s now in the past 2 weeks. The Pies keep winning. I think an issue here might be that they've really implemented this team game style where they can win with a very efficient way of playing the footy, where they don't have a heap of possessions, so they don't actually score a heap of KFC SuperCoach points. Again, they had quite a lot less points than their opponents this week and still got the job done. So that's something to keep in mind when picking Collingwood players potentially next year and the next few years under Craig McRae. But Nick Dacos has just been a fantastic servant for the players who picked him at the start of the year. If you've still got him, he's 557 grand, so you can trade him to just about any defender you like, and I think I'd probably be upgrading him if I had a trade left. With trades running low and a number of late outs on the weekend as well, a lot of KFC SuperCoach players were forced to call on players off the bench to cover a gap this week. I hope you weren't relying on Maurice Rioli Jr. He had a bit of a, I thought it was a bit harsh. He only scored the 6 KFC SuperCoach points. He was pretty electric when he came on for the Tigers, but obviously only came in late into that game, and he gave away a 50-metre penalty in the last quarter when things were really tight, so that really cost him. But it was a bit of an issue this week across the board. We had a number of other emergencies who came on as the sub, like a Josh Carmichael or a Hugh Dixon, or we had Mitch Owens, who was a late in for the Saints. So just make sure you watch those teams right up until the last minute and you don't get caught out by a player playing who you weren't expecting.